Alright, welcome back to Bit Heroes Explained. We're going to continue with the videos. Today we're just going to take a second and do a quick little tour of the town and kind of talk about a couple of things as we come to it. So, when you first log in, you will be in the main town here, somewhere kind of around through the center. And this is a kind of cool way to log in here and see all these different players playing it. This is not one server, this is actually one instance, and servers will have multiple instances, so you might log in here and you're talking to your friend and you're wondering where the heck they are if they're the found you're not seeing them. And there's different ways to join different instances of your friends, but it doesn't really matter. It's just something kind of fun to play with and run around with a friend. So in the center of town you'll see the statue. The statue is a snapshot of the cosmetic of the player that won last week's PvP. So this guy is well represented here, and you can click on that and take a look. If you head straight north up here, since we're talking about PvP, you can click on this NPC and open up your PvP. You can go back here and you can click on this guy for Gauntlet. And so with Gauntlet, that is a weekly event that we haven't been able to showcase because this was actually one of the events for the previous week. So I'll show this again and show some Gauntlet content when it is available. But if you want to look at previous weeks, you can take a look and see. Pup obviously went hard last week in PvP and in Gauntlet, so he's well represented here. My main account actually pulled some weight because I was trying to finish my Polaris set, and I'll tell you, Gauntlet. A lot of players say the Gauntlet has horrible drop rates on gear. I got one piece out of my set out of 1.6 million points of participation in this, which is a lot. This is insane, but this is a lot, and I definitely put a lot of time in there. So on the bright side, Gauntlet gives a ton of experience, so I did get a lot of experience, and 10% of your experience if you're in a guild gives you guild honor, so it's not a waste. I was definitely progressing through, but goodness gracious, man, the reward on that, the drops, oh man, it was abysmal. So maybe it's just RNG doing RNG things, but I've heard a lot of players complain about that. And of course, each week you can get different rewards with these different events. So this Kokai is the name of the rune, so different runes. This is one of the most valuable runes for block-based characters, defensive characters, and so on. You can kind of take a deep dive and look at all the previous events, and you can look at who performed well in previous events as well. So same thing here, if this loads up. So there you go, and so on. Okay, so that is Gauntlet. We're going to kind of continue making our rounds. If you click on this, I've showed it before, that is one of the ways to take a look at your bounties. Of course, you can click it on your user interface. If you click on this guy, Grams, this is the first NPC that you talk to going through the new player tutorial. You can click on him and you can access all your different zones. And let's see. The last zone in the game right now is this guy right here, Grimbora. No, that's not right. The last zone in the game is actually two more zones past this, I believe. This character is only unlocked to T7. So that's what that's about. I was wondering, I was confusing this guy with my main account. I was like, what? So clicking on Gramps is one way to access into your campaign or into missions. On here, this is the guild hall. You can click on the door. If you're in a guild, you can access your guild hall. You can take a look at all your friends. We've talked about guilds previously and guild halls. You can click on that door to come right back out. This guy, he's riding on the Spawner mount. You can click on him and toggle your enchants if you want to do that. Obviously, another way is you click on your character, click on enchants, and access it through here. That's just a different way if you want to have some more style points coming through here. This guy is going to take you through your schematics, and this is the recipes to upgrade your familiars. He's also the NPC that caused Raid 4 to be a thing. Coming through here, you see I can click on the anvil, I can go to my crafting tab, and I can exchange this big old mess of loot that I got and clean things up for anybody out there that has OCD. Nice and clean. I'm hanging on to that for reasons that were discussed previously. You can click on him, go through the crafting tab, take a look at everything else. You can mess with your runes over here on the rune table. That's why it's got that little design for you. this is a leaderboard. This is probably the most valuable thing that I'll show you in this video because this is the only way to access the leaderboard that I know about. You can come down here, so you're straight south from the center of town, coming down here, and you can see who has the highest level. So who are these insane people that have climbed all the way up here. You can take a look at how many total stats these guys have. So that's a ungodly amount. I mentioned previously that the two main ways to gain stat points, I guess three main ways to gain stat points after you've gotten the highest level of equipment in the game is through leveling up, because you get a skill point with that. Doing PvP, you can use the currency earned there to get skill points, and that currency is affected by item find. And then the third option is in these little bundles that come around. It seems like every 2 days or so you'll get a bundle in here. It will have a skill point in there. So it's a bit of the pay to win option over here as well. It's also a way to kind of support the game and give yourself a little boost. So that's on you if you choose to do that. And then over here you can click this and you can go off into the fishing land. I've been to Fishing Zone before and had a video on that, so I'll leave that there. This icon will take you to raids. If you click on that, this little Duke Blue Devil guy is Nixon. Right now we have Nixon's trials are active, so I can click on him, and that is a way that I can access his trials through here. Of course, you can click your user interface. Down here, this is the world boss. This is, I believe his name is Zarin. I can open up the world boss interface. So there's not much going on right now, but in another video I'll end up showing a little about world boss, Orlag, and Netherworld, and some of the loot and gear and things that you can get from there, such as schematics. That's a big one for me. I spent a lot of time farming that. There's also sets that are specific to the world boss, and I'm going to do it in a separate video so I can talk about what difficulty drops what gear, what tier matters. For newer players, we'll always suggest that not to bother with it until you can do tier 7, which fortunately this character can do, so I can show it off on this guy. And then last but not least, if we're going up here, I can come through, I can click on this guy, and I can start looking at my stables. And stables is a way to increase the power of your familiar. So you can take a familiar, you can fuse it, it'll get more skills, it'll get a bonus, it'll get a stat bonus, and then if I want to improve it further, I can stable this guy. So you see Shramps is one of the best tanks that you can get early on in the game, and I wanted to use him for the long haul, so I spent the time to actually stable him up. So he'll get a 2% stat bonus for each stable up to a 10%, and so what that effectively means is that a fully stabled rare like this guy will have the same total stats as a 0 stabled epic fusion. So that's kind of cool. It's a way to increase power. You can put these guys in, take them out at your will. You're not going to lose anything, but just another way to kind of toggle into that interface. So that is your main town, and that'll do it. Appreciate you watching the video.